Marvel's Wolverine is Insomniac Games' next big single-player action game, and it's a PS5 exclusive planned for fall 2026. Insomniac has been on a serious run lately, and this one feels like a chance for them to go much darker than Spider-Man. This isn't a clean, friendly take on Logan. From what they've shown, they're leaning into a rougher, more violent version that actually fits the character. The claws look heavy, the hits look like they hurt, and yeah, even small things like the ray-traced shine on the adamantium make it feel nasty in a good way. That makes this exciting is Insomniac's track record. They nailed how Spider-Man moves, fights, and reacts to the world, so seeing that same level of care applied to Wolverine's rage, his healing kicking in mid-fight, and the raw force behind each swing is a big deal. They're also talking up character detail, which likely means visible scars, damage, and wear as you play. If they bring even close to the polish of Spider-Man 2, Marvel's Wolverine could end up being one of the more intense superhero games we've gotten in a long time.
It's all right.
Lunka! Don't hurt her!
You gave us quite the chase, young man.
Please, sir. She's just a child!
Roderick, remind me, did I make an exception for children?
No, sire.
No. That would have been foolish, would it not? They spread the plague just as well as adults. And there's only one way to stamp out this sickness.
No!
Not just a runner, but a fighter, too. Had we met under a different moon, things might have
The Blood of Dawnwalker is a dark fantasy RPG coming in 2026 from Rebel Wolves, a studio formed by former Witcher 3 developers. Not just random staff either, but people who worked on the strongest parts of that game. They're using Unreal Engine 5 to build a version of 14th century Europe, and it's not a clean or heroic take on that time. It's grim, heavy, and tense. The game leans hard into player choice and story decisions, which isn't surprising given where these devs came from. The setting mixes real European history with darker fantasy elements and vampire mythology, and it fits together really well. The footage they've shown feels thick with atmosphere. Towns feel packed and lived in, light comes from torches and the moon instead of glowing game lamps. It looks grounded, not flashy. What stands out most is how personal this project feels. This doesn't look like a studio chasing trends. It looks like a team finally making the game they wanted to make. If you liked the tone and storytelling style of Witcher 3 and want something new that still feels handcrafted, The Blood of Dawnwalker is absolutely worth keeping an eye on.
Things will be different for all of you.
Everyone wears a mask. You too. This is a real face.
He let you live? What secret did you sell him?
Only a dead person can keep a secret.
Phantom Blade Zero is an action RPG from S-Game, and it's set to launch on September 9th, 2026. This one came out of nowhere for a lot of people, and the reaction makes sense once you see it in motion. The game is built around fast wuxia-style combat, running on Unreal Engine 5, and the focus is clearly on sharp movement and long, flowing attack chains. Fights are quick, aggressive, and packed with parries, counters, and brutal boss encounters. What stands out is how smooth everything looks while still being fully playable. The animations flow cleanly from one move to the next, and the timing-heavy combat gives every hit some weight. The environments mix traditional Chinese buildings with a darker fantasy tone, and UE5 lighting and effects push that look hard. Slashes leave trails, impacts burst with particles. Even the main character's outfit has a ton of detail up close. If you're into stylish action games or martial arts combat that rewards skill and timing, Phantom Blade Zero is absolutely one to keep an eye on. Tomb Raider Catalyst is a brand new mainline Tomb Raider game from Crystal Dynamics, and it's currently set to launch in 2027. This isn't a remake or a side project. It's the next big chapter for Lara Croft, and it's being built fully in Unreal Engine 5. The setting this time is northern India, and the early concept art shows huge spaces, big mountain temples, thick jungles, and old ruins tucked into valleys. The last trilogy played well, but it was clearly built on tech that had been stretched for years. Catalyst doesn't have that problem. Everything is being designed around modern hardware from the start. That likely means taller spaces, more layered levels, and puzzles that lean harder into movement and timing. Lara herself is getting a big upgrade too. More detailed animations, better facial work during story scenes, and more natural movement overall. Northern India gives them a lot to work with visually and culturally, and it feels like Crystal Dynamics finally has the tools to go all in without cutting corners.
Something is coming. An intrusive pattern. Of staggering power. Reshaping reality as we know it. Everything we tried to keep inside eventually worms its way out.
Control Resonant is Remedy's next major release, and it's planned for 2026. Remedy has already said this is their biggest project yet, and after Alan Wake 2, that claim carries weight. The first Control stood out because of its strange spaces and powers that felt strong and wild. The oldest house shifting and bending around you never got old. Now take that same idea and build it with the upgraded Northlight engine used in Alan Wake 2. That tech handled lighting, shadows, and detail incredibly well. Bringing that level of detail into Control's weird architecture is kind of a perfect match. Expect stranger rooms, cleaner geometry, and powers that look even more intense in motion. Jesse's abilities should feel heavier and clearer on screen. Remedy also doesn't half commit to ideas. They lean into the strange stuff fully, and that's where their games stand apart. This story has a lot of loose threads too, so there's plenty of room to push things further.
They're combing the streets, searching house to house.
If they arrest you two, they will take you to their headquarters, and you will not return.
I'm more concerned with the 6-foot cat man who's got claws that can cut through vibranium alloy.
Marvel 1943 Rise of Hydra is a story-focused Marvel game set during World War II and directed by Amy Hennig. Yeah, that Amy Hennig. The Uncharted director making a Marvel game already tells you a lot about the direction here. This is coming in 2026. It's built on Unreal Engine 5.4, and the character models they've shown look almost unreal. You could pause a trailer and mistake it for a movie shot. The game centers on Black Panther and Captain America teaming up during the war, which is a time period Marvel hasn't really dug into like this before. That alone makes it interesting. But the bigger deal is the focus on characters and story. This doesn't look like an open map full of icons and busywork. It looks tight, focused, and very deliberate. Big moments, smaller character scenes, and a clear start-to-finish story. The facial animation tech they're using lets characters actually show emotion in a way games usually struggle with. Not stiff faces, not blank stares, actual reactions. Amy Hennig has always been great at making stories feel human, and now she's got modern tech and the Marvel license to work with. If you've been waiting for a Marvel game that feels more like a serious story instead of a checklist, this one feels like it's aiming right at that gap. Ace Combat 8: Wings of Theve is the next main entry in Bandai Namco's Jet Combat series, planned for 2026. Ace Combat 7 came out back in 2019, so this one is finally built straight for PS5 and modern hardware. And that matters here. The jet models are insanely detailed, based on real aircraft, with every panel line and tiny detail visible even when you're yanking the stick at high speed. The maps are huge too. You're flying through tight canyons, over big cities, and straight into thick storm clouds. What Ace Combat always nails is that big, dramatic feel. Dogfights get crowded fast, missiles are flying everywhere, wingmen are yelling callouts, and the sky is just full of chaos. With current-gen lighting, effects, and draw distance, all of that should look way cleaner and more intense than before. You'll be spotting targets from far out, weather will actually affect fights, and the series' over-the-top super weapon battles should feel massive. If you want something grounded and intense instead of fantasy or sci-fi, this is about pure speed, pressure, and control at Mach numbers.
Not enough! I need more! Pick your battle, piggy! Let me eat
Onimusha: Way of the Sword is Capcom's return to the samurai action series coming in 2026. The original Onimusha games were tough, stylish action games with demons, swords, and a heavy supernatural edge, and they were doing that long before it was common. Now, Capcom is using the RE engine to rebuild feudal Japan with modern visuals. The environments look incredibly real, from wooden buildings to foggy forests, and character armor is packed with fine detail. Katanas reflect light in real time, and every swing looks heavy and deliberate. Combat doesn't look spammy at all. It's slow, sharp, and focused, where timing and positioning matter. Capcom has already shown what the RE engine can do across horror and action with Resident Evil and Devil May Cry 5, so seeing it used for grounded sword combat is exciting. The old games balanced exploration, tough fights, and demon hunting really well. If Way of the Sword keeps that structure and tightens it up, this could end up being a big surprise for a lot of people.
Child of Orion, fulfill the purpose for which you were crafted, and seize your destiny.
Our world is dying. You are the only one who can wield celestial tech and find a cure.
Exodus is a sci-fi RPG from Archetype Entertainment, a studio formed by longtime BioWare developers, and it's targeting early 2027. That background shows immediately. This is a story-focused RPG built in Unreal Engine 5, with large alien worlds and a strong sense of scale. One of the core ideas is time dilation. When you travel through space, time moves differently, and your decisions can affect people years or even decades later. That's a wild setup for an RPG. The footage so far looks great, with huge landscapes, clean sci-fi cities, and detailed character models that fit right in with modern AAA games. But the real draw here is the people making it. These are the developers who helped shape Mass Effect, and that game worked because the characters and choices stuck with you. Exodus looks like it's chasing that same feeling, just with newer tech and a new universe. If you've been missing that classic BioWare-style space RPG, this one is worth keeping an eye on.
The shelter. Looks like we got some backup power here.
Now, maybe we can upgrade our stuff.
Worth a shot. We gotta get going.
Ready when you are. Starting hat. Crap. Jump to.
This friggin' thing is tough as hell.
We can use this to hit harder and beat things faster.
Pragmata is Capcom's long-in-the-works sci-fi action puzzle game, and it's finally set to release on April 24th, 2026. Capcom has barely explained what this game actually is, and honestly, that mystery fits it really well. What we do know is that it's built on the RE engine, and it looks nothing like Resident Evil or Devil May Cry. The world is full of huge, empty city spaces with strange shapes and structures that don't feel natural. You play as an astronaut-type character alongside a quiet, mysterious girl on what looks like a broken version of future Earth. The story details are still locked down tight, but the tone is clear. It feels lonely, tense, and kind of beautiful at the same time. The low-gravity movement looks smooth and deliberate, and the puzzle elements seem tied closely to how you move through these spaces. This is the RE engine being pushed in a totally different direction, and that alone makes it interesting. Capcom doesn't rush games anymore, and the fact that they've let Pragmata cook this long makes me really curious to see what it turns out to be once we can finally play it.
Do you have an appointment?
The name's Bond.
James Bond. He's with me.
And you are? Don't think we've had the pleasure.
Now let's not get ahead of ourselves, James.
So you shouldn't have.
007 First Light is IO Interactive's take on James Bond, and it's coming May 27th, 2026. This game tells an origin story, showing how Bond earns his 00 status, and IO feels like the right studio for that job. These are the same people who made the modern Hitman trilogy, and they know how to build levels that let you slow down, plan, and feel clever. The Glacier engine should make this world look sharp and grounded, with detailed locations like high-end casinos, private estates, and heavily guarded compounds. The exciting part isn't just the Bond name, it's the idea of Hitman-style freedom applied to spy work. Multiple paths, different tools, and space to figure things out instead of just following markers and shooting everything that moves. The origin angle also gives the story room to grow since Bond isn't fully formed yet. IO is great at environmental detail and level design that rewards curiosity, and if they carry that over here, this could finally be a Bond game that feels smart, stylish, and player-driven instead of scripted and stiff. Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls is a 4 vs 4 fighting game coming to 2026, developed by Arc System Works. That alone tells you a lot. This is the studio behind Guilty Gear and Dragon Ball FighterZ, and their whole thing is sharp animation and bold anime-style visuals. Seeing that approach applied to Marvel characters is wild. Every character looks hand-drawn, with huge effects flying across the screen during supers and team attacks. The 4-on-4 setup changes the pace a lot. It's not just clean one-on-one fights. There's assist calls, team pressure, and plenty of chaos, which could make matches fun to watch and play. Arc System Works is also known for making games that feel good at a casual level, but still have depth for serious players. Their animation work is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, because every hit and move reads clearly. Fighting games are great for showing visual detail, and this one looks built to show off. For Marvel fans and fighting game players, this combo just makes sense. Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet, is Naughty Dog's next game, and it's targeting late 2026 or 2027. This is their first new world in a long time, and it's a big shift. The game leans hard into a retro future look, with chunky tech, old-school sci-fi vibes, and space environments that feel very intentional in their design. The reveal showed real-time in-engine footage that honestly blurs the line between gameplay and cutscenes. You play as Jordan, who comes across as a lone bounty hunter type, moving through alien worlds and detailed ship interiors. Naughty Dog has a history of pushing PlayStation hardware, and this looks like another case of that. The lighting, character detail, and scale of the environments are doing a lot of work here. Given their track record with characters and long-form stories, this has the setup to grow into something much bigger than a one-off project. We've only seen a small slice, but it already feels like a major new direction for the studio.
With his feet on dry road. Fight! The devil's out there! Just running from! The builder, shield us.
The Witcher 4 is CD Projekt Red's next mainline entry, and it's currently set for a 2027 release. This time, the story centers on Ciri, which already makes it feel different in a good way. After spending so long with Geralt, shifting focus to Ciri opens the door to a totally new kind of Witcher game. She's trained like a Witcher, but she also has Elder Blood powers, and that combo could lead to combat that feels way more flexible and unpredictable. Another big change is the tech. The Witcher 4 is being built in Unreal Engine 5 instead of CDPR's old Red engine. Witcher 3 was incredible, but it definitely had its rough spots on the technical side. Moving to UE5 means things like modern ray tracing, better lighting, and much denser environments. CDPR has also talked about targeting a locked 60 frames per second, even with all that visual detail turned up. The early art and teases show massive areas that make places like Skellige feel small by comparison. After everything that happened with Cyberpunk, it's clear they're being more careful and giving this game time. If they stick the landing, The Witcher 4 could end up being a huge moment for RPG fans this generation. Tomb Raider: Legacy of Atlantis is a full remake of the original 1996 Tomb Raider, rebuilt in Unreal Engine 5 and planned for 2026. Crystal Dynamics isn't just touching things up here, they're rebuilding the entire game from the ground up. And honestly, that makes sense, because the original, as iconic as it was, felt stiff and blocky even back then. All the classic locations are coming back. Lara's mansion, the caves of Vilcabamba, and yes, those famous T-Rex encounters. But now they're being redone with modern lighting, dense geometry, and way more detail thanks to UE5's tech like nanite. Ancient ruins can finally look old, cracked, and massive without the game falling apart. What's cool is that they're keeping the core of what made the original work. The platforming and puzzles are still the focus, just updated so they feel smooth and natural to play now. Lara herself looks great, and the environments finally have the scale the original was aiming for. If you missed the first Tomb Raider, this is an easy way in, and if you grew up with it, this looks like a proper return, not just a visual upgrade. Crimson Desert is an open-world action RPG from Pearl Abyss, and it's scheduled to release on March 19th, 2026. This game has been teased for a long time, but each new showing makes it clearer why. It's built on Pearl Abyss's own Black Space engine, and the tech is doing some serious work here. The world is massive, and the ocean tech alone stands out. Waves move and crash like real water, not flat animations. Weather rolls in and actually changes how places look and feel. Combat looks slower and heavier than most fantasy games, with hits that feel like they land. Character models are packed with detail, from facial movement to armor that looks thick and worn. Mounted combat is a big focus too, and it carries real momentum instead of feeling floaty. With PS5 Pro support adding even more detail, this looks like a true next-gen fantasy game that's aiming for depth, not just flashy visuals.
Hello?
It hasn't been easy. But after much effort, here we finally are.
Who are you?
I know now that you're the one that I've been searching for. The special one. The chosen one. Miss Ashcroft.
Resident Evil 9, officially titled Resident Evil Requiem, is launching February 27th, 2026, and Leon is back. This time, he's not alone. He's sharing the story with a new character named Grace, and that pairing already feels like a big change for the series. The RE engine keeps getting better with every release, and Capcom is using it to make darker spaces feel tighter and more uncomfortable than ever. The lighting is sharp, the shadows are heavy, and the character faces are detailed enough that you can read their fear without a word being said. What's interesting here is where the series goes next. RE7 reset everything. The RE2 and RE4 remakes were rock solid. Village leaned harder into action. Requiem sounds like it's trying to stretch the scope while still keeping that close, stressful horror feel. Leon is older now, more worn down, and adding Grace into the mix opens the door for new tension and story beats. Capcom has been on an unreal streak, and if you've stuck with Resident Evil this long, this one already feels like an easy day one pick.
You there, Leon?
Yeah.
Hey, over here.
FBI. What are you doing here?
Would you like to see what's hidden under the hood?
Don't do anything stupid.
Me? Never.
What you doing up there?
I'm just fixing some leaks.
Seriously, dude, you got some time on your hands. I got some properties with paying tenants.
Oh, that's why you came by?
Just go get me my checks.
See you, Brian. Love you, Jason.
I'm here for Lucia Caminos. She's supposed to be getting out.
What's your name?
Jason Duval.
I seen you here before.
You might have. Hey.
Hey.
GTA 6 is Rockstar's next mainline Grand Theft Auto, and it's set to launch on November 19th, 2026. The game returns to Vice City, but this version is a long way from the old PS2 days. What they've shown so far is all about detail: wet streets reflecting lights in real time, storms rolling through the city, and character models that look almost uncomfortable in how real they are. The story centers on Lucia and Jason, and even in short trailer shots, their facial detail stands out in a big way. Weather isn't just for looks either. It changes how things play, how the city feels, and how alive everything seems. Beaches, highways, clubs, neighborhoods, it all looks dense and busy, like there's always something happening off screen. Rockstar's clearly spent years building this thing, and it shows. This doesn't look like a small step forward from GTA 5. It feels like a full reset for what a massive open-world game can look like on current hardware. Whether you care about story, tech, or just messing around in the city, this is the one everyone's circling on the calendar. So yeah, looking at this lineup, it really feels like we're heading into something special. The next couple of years for PS5 are shaping up to be absolutely packed, and just talking about these games makes the wait feel even harder. What I love most is how unpredictable it all is. Some of these are massive, guaranteed hits, and others might completely surprise us and end up being the games everyone's talking about. My most anticipated? That honestly changes all the time, and that's a good problem to have. Now I'm curious about your pick. Which one of these games are you counting down the days for? Let me know in the comments. I always like seeing which titles people are genuinely excited about. If you enjoyed the video, dropping a like really helps the channel grow. And if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you are. I'll be covering these games as we get closer to release with news, trailers, and full gameplay breakdowns. Thanks for sticking around till the end. The future of gaming is looking insanely good, and I'll see you in the next video.